Alright guys, so before we start on a project, I just want to cover the basics of Revit and what I usually do when I start a project. So when you open up a new Revit file, it should look similar to this. A couple of things that I want you to be mindful of. Level is kind of saying what type of plan is it? Is it a first floor, second floor, a roof plan, a site plan? Well, here's a site plan. So you can change the name of this level to, let's say, this will be level 1. So it's probably a first floor. So we're just going to say first finished floor, like that. And then you're going to just say yes. And then since it's the first floor, I also want you to come here and change it if it's not already changed. And change that scale to be a 1/4 inch, because your floor plan should always be shown at a 1/4 inch scale. Alright, so what I really wanted to talk to you guys about was levels. So these are elevation points. So this is by default north elevation, which is this guy here. And this is south elevation. So it doesn't really matter which elevation you open, but I need you to open up an elevation by hitting this little triangle. And this is like if you're standing in the street and looking at the house directly. So currently what you see on the screen is just 2 levels. So first of all, this one was level 1, and I changed it to first finished floor here. And so you can see that it's renamed it to first finished floor. And typically, and this is where you want to set all the levels, and it's super important because everything that you create in Revit, whether it's a wall or a roof, or you place a bed or a cabinet or any component, it has to be tied to a level or a floor, quote unquote, right? So it's really, really important that you understand this concept of level or floors, and moving forward, everything that you create will be associated with a level. So let me go back and show you how I got to this view. I'm going to go back to my plan view. And you can see my little elevation marks that are already here. You can create new ones, but your base file should have elevation marks already created for you. And you just simply click on one of these triangles and you'll see it in that view. And right now I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we don't see anything. What I really just want you to pay attention to and renaming are these levels. Again, these are supposed to be elevation drawings or elevation views. So these views should be set at a 1/4 inch scale. And I am going to assume my first floor, I'm going to just consider that my reference level, so I'm going to call that 0, 0. And then this floor here, I'm going to click on this 10 and bring it down to 8. Because most typical houses, your very common houses, the height from finished floor to the bottom of the ceiling is typically 8 feet. So we're going to establish that as 8 feet tall. Well, I'm going to call it a plate height. So please also be mindful for the vocabulary that I'm using. And on level 2, I'm just going to simply click that, and I'm going to call it first FC for finished ceiling. So it's asking me, hey, do you want to rename everything? You say yes. And then you don't see it here because we don't have a floor plan view yet. And in later videos, I'm going to show you guys how to create new views. So not to worry about that. And what I'd like you guys to do is, this is a 2-story project. I need you guys to make copies of this level. So I'm going to type CC on my keyboard because I have my shortcut key. Yeah. But if not, ooh, this is terrible. How do I copy? Because I do everything by shortcut. So I don't know what is the, oh, I think it's this guy here. So copy. And then I'm just going to click. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to establish my floor level of my second floor. So typically what we do is we leave 1 feet or 1 foot room between the finished ceiling and the floor. And that'll account for our floor joists or any structural elements that goes. So before I do my second click, I'm just going to type 1 and enter. So now it's made just a copy. It says it has a random name, first GG. So again, I'm going to click on that and I'm going to call that second finished floor, right? So that's where my second floor finished material will start. In effect, you'll be standing on this line if you were standing on the second floor, and then there'll be ceiling above it. Now you will see these things overlap just because there's not a whole lot of space. So what I like to do is click on this line, and there's a little break line here. I click that, and it just kind of gives myself a little bit more space. So your stuff or your project should look similar to this. Let's add another level. Come up here and go to the copy, and then type 8. So that would be my 8 foot. So that would be my second finish ceiling. And then I'm going to add one more level, which would be my roof plan. So my roof in theory starts right above my finished ceiling. Like I'll have my structural members here, and then my roof will, bottom of my roof will sit somewhere here. So let's go ahead and make a copy of this. And then let's just raise it up 1 feet again. And then we'll just call that roof plan, or we'll just call it roof. And I'm going to hit this break line, and then now I have all of my levels. So basically I can draw 5 sheets of drawing. My first floor finished ceiling, which typically we wouldn't draw unless you guys are doing a reflective ceiling plan, but you will definitely draw a second floor, so it'll be drawn at this level, and then you would be drawing your roof at this level. So make sure that when you start your project and it's a blank page of Revit, make sure that you do what I just did, which is to create and set up all your levels. That is absolutely the first thing you guys should do whenever you start a Revit project.